Yo, what's happening? Travis here, TravisStetzel.com, TrainAggressive.com, and about to go over a bunch of different questions as I sent out within my newsletter just a few days ago, asking what questions you have about kettlebell training. All right, so we're going to be digging into a bunch of different questions and getting you coached up on kettlebell training. Just right off the bat, if you're not including kettlebell training in your workouts or your programming, you're missing the boat big time. These are one of the most brutal and effective ways you can train in regards to getting better results. So we're going to dig into some questions here, and I'm going to make sure you get coached up so we can kick some ass with kettlebell training. So let's get into this. First question is from Mark, and he asked, Travis, what are your top 5 kettlebell movements? All right, let's talk about what my top 5 kettlebell movements are. And when it comes to kettlebells, there's a lot of different movements, but there are my top movements that I like performing the best. And the first one has got to be the kettlebell snatch. I love the kettlebell snatch. It's just a very explosive movement. And so if you don't know what the kettlebell snatch is, kettlebell snatch, boom, world's fastest lift. There's a lot of different variations with the kettlebell snatch. So there's a swing snatch, which is this variation, boom, and then your classic power snatch. So you're starting off from the ground, boom, ripping it up from there. All right, so that's probably my top favorite movement. My next movement is going to be the clean and press. All right, so there's different variations with this. Power clean and press here, and then your swing clean and press, which is also a great movement. Boom, right there. That's another one of my favorites. When it comes to pressing, I love all the different pressing variations. So push press, push jerk, strict press. But my favorite press by far has got to be the bottoms up press because it works freaking your core, your grip like none other, and it really forces you to focus in on the press. So if you don't know what the bottoms up press is, basically you'll get the kettlebell, you'll grab in the middle here, clean it up, and you're keeping that kettlebell upside down. Bottoms up press, boom. And it takes that regular press to the whole next level, all right? So that's probably my third favorite movement. My next movement in line, which is gonna work the whole body in one shot, is your Turkish get-up. All right, Turkish get-up takes a little bit to get down. There's a learning curve with it. However, I'll just show you a quick example. So I like working from the top down, where a lot of kettlebell guys, girls, like doing Turkish get-ups from the bottom up. What I like to do, snatch the weight up first, boom, make sure you lock it out, then we go into our Turkish get-up. So you're keeping that nice and tight overhead, dropping all the way down, boom, coming back up, hips through, and then you're standing up, finishing it out. What I like most about that Turkish get-up is it's working a lot of different things at once. So shoulder stability, it's cranking away on the core, so you got to have a solid amount of core strength and endurance to go through that full movement, especially if you're going to be doing higher reps. But more than anything, you got to be mobile, all right? So super mobile with that. So with the hips, if you're lacking mobility in the hips, that movement is going to be a tough one for you. So helps improve a lot of different things at once. Now, my last movement here, got to be the double kettlebell Russian swing. All right, I like Russian swings, boom, with the single bell, but nothing's better, double Russian kettlebell swing. Love using this movement to help build power in the hips, and it's also a great conditioning movement. So go over a couple reps here, boom, double Russian swing. Nothing like getting a couple heavy bells, cranking away on some double Russian swings. So those 5 different movements right there. Those are just the tip of the iceberg. But if I had to pick 5 of my top favorite kettlebell movements, Joshua asks, what's the right grip with kettlebells? All right, let's talk about kettlebell grip. All right, grip is very important when we're doing different kettlebell movements. And one of the biggest mistakes I see people make when they first start training with kettlebells, just because they just don't know any better, is they grip the kettlebell wrong. All right, so a couple different ways that you can grip the kettlebell wrong is simply just grabbing the kettlebell. So your hand's right in the middle, you just grab the kettlebell, and then when you clean it up, the grip that you have, if you notice my wrist is cocked back. All right, so that puts a lot of stress on the wrist joint. Okay, so if I'm going to be doing some presses, or even if I'm just carrying the kettlebell here in the rack, I'm having a lot of pressure on my wrist. And if you see where the handle is, it's straight across in my palm. All right, that's where we don't want to be with our kettlebells. All right, so easy way to set this up is just to think you want your index finger touching the opposite horn on the kettlebell. All right, so when you're going to reach for a kettlebell, always reach across the kettlebell so your hand's going to be all the way over to the side. So you can see that there's no space. I don't want to be over here. I'm going to be all the way over to the side. And what that allows the kettlebell to do is get in a better position when I get up into that rack. So if we're going to clean it up, boom, it falls over. As you can notice, the handle isn't a straight across on my palm. Now it's at an angle, so it starts in between my thumb and index finger and comes down bottom part of my palm. If you see from the side, now I have a straight wrist. I don't have all that pressure on my wrist, so if I'm pressing, it's going to be a lot more comfortable, and I can hold that baby nice and tight in the rack position here. All right, so that's just some major key points to focus in on with your grip. And another thing to focus in on is you don't always have to have a death grip on the kettlebell. All right, this is especially true when we're doing clean. So when I get up in here, I can actually open my palm here. Then as I throw it down for the clean, as I swing it back, you don't have to keep a death grip on that bell. Because you want that bell, as we're coming back up, loosen up your grip so it falls into place nice and easy. So if you see it here, boom, right there. Nice and easy grip. Right there. So just some easy fixes for your grip. So just make sure you're reaching across. Index finger is going to touch that opposite horn. You'll be a lot better off. So that goes for cleans, snatches, presses, all different movements.